Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is GABNET, the Great American Broadcast Network. This is an Internet Network news break. IP Pingsley reporting. Our top story, the Great American Broadcast Network, otherwise known as GABNET, is now a TuneIn partner. TuneIn, the world's largest audio network, has joined forces with GABNET, the world's most innovative talk network. GABNET's partnership with TuneIn means that listeners now have 3 main ways to listen to GABNET programming: GABNET.net, TuneIn.com, and the convenient TuneIn app for smartphones. To participate in the network's innovative citizen panels on GABNET programs, use Skype and type the handle GABNET Live, or call on your phone 347-352-0079. For more information on this network, its programs, and its hosts, log on to GABNET.net. That's GABNET.net. This has been an Internet Network news break. Connect to life.
We do have several listeners online tonight who are either dealing with parents who have Alzheimer's or who have dealt with that and are now past the final stage.
Connect to love.
Hey, Dad, that was so creepy that you told Melissa that you had sex in 8 years.
I don't know what's
and
wrong
you should.
with
It was
my
like
life.
deer in the headlights. Boink. Like.
Oh my God! No wonder he didn't show up to the parade afterwards. He was embarrassed.
Connect to happiness.
Bumping and bumping, Linda.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you really
Holy
were.
cow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just have to do that.
Yes.
There we
to
go.
blow it out sometimes.
Yeah. Like a Brazilian blowout was a Cuban blowout going on over here. That's going to put it out there for you people.
Connect with Connections, a nightly feature of GABNET. Join hosts Melissa Fox, Linda Nunez, Porn Star Pete, abetted by Lizzie Say What, and Mr. Punchline as they engage in a lively 2-hour romp that is bound to keep you happy and, yes, connected. Each show tackles a lifestyle or relationship topic relevant to people interested in improving themselves, dealing with the ups and downs of life, and those interested in spicing up their relationships. The gang, along with special guest hosts, share stories and connect the topics with humor to current events in entertainment, politics, culture, and even sports. So get connected, Mondays at 10 p.m. Eastern and Tuesday through Friday at 1 a.m. It's Connections, here on GABNET. Talk like you've never heard it before. We're GABNET, and we've got you covered live 5 nights a week. First Tuesday through Friday at 9:30 Eastern, it's The Exchange.
Let's capture, who are all these people who are watching these cooking shows? They're stoners, right? So I'm wondering, is this a program that Netflix has absorbed? I don't know, what is the purpose of Netflix making a 14-minute show? Now, aside from those 2 interesting facts about this show, the show is fucking terrible. Do not watch this show. It fucking sucks.
Tuesday through Friday at 10 Eastern, join Alex Bennett on the Ramble.
Say goodbye to the unions.
Renee, what was the decision? And then we'll go to Patrick.
It doesn't matter. Just say goodbye to the unions.
No. But I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you what was in the decision yesterday.
I'm going to look it up.
Okay, let me look it up.
Yeah, he'll go look it up at glennbeck.com.
Tuesday through Friday at midnight, The Intersection.
Most high school boys, what have we got on our mind? Girls. Sex and girls and girls and sex and sex and sex.
And booze and drugs.
Yeah, the Asian guys I knew in high school, I'm sure they thought that way, but perhaps they were more disciplined about it. Although there was this Japanese girl in high school that your old friend, the Black Avenger, had the hots for. Oh, my God. Be still my sake wanting to drink self.
If you like sports, we've got that too, with The Arena, Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
Well, and even if you did that, it doesn't give you the right to grab your Uber driver's private. I mean, and like, what part of that to him sounded like a good idea?
Oh, she played a special song.
Finally, you can get hot and bothered on Connections at 10 p.m. Eastern Monday and by delay Tuesday through Friday at 1 a.m. Eastern.
Now, of course, you got your Bundy barbecue. We did that here. Gonna be cool. So we have a few of them out of the state of Florida, right? We got Danny Rawlings.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so we can look at that. That'll be fun. So, okay, so well, I don't want to shoot the whole lot right there. No.
I'm sure Dahmer will come up somewhere.
Dahmer! Oh, yeah. He was fun. A looker, too.
Catch up on all the shows with our weekend flashback. All shows have the Citizen Panel, an exclusive concept of GabNet. It's new, it's daring, it's talk like you've never heard it before. Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hey, hey, everybody, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Got to get me in the picture here. There we go. Hold on a second. I also got to do something else here. I got just so I can make sure that I don't get all screwed up here later on. With my audio part of the show, I have to always check on things and make sure they're working and not working, and you know. And I don't have a guest this half hour. So what does that mean? That means I got to talk for the next half hour, and I really don't feel like talking for the next half hour. I mean, I'm just not feeling up to it. But I'll get going here. I've got coffee tonight, which is bad because then I have to take a Xanax to put me to sleep because this is going to wire me out. Anyway, enough of my complaining. A bunch of things are happening that maybe I can talk about. I'm going to be doing. I've got a friend, Walter M. Sterling. He calls himself. I know him as Walter Sabo. He for years has been a consultant in the broadcasting business, and he started a show on Westwood One. And he is taking, I guess, a weekend off in 2 weeks and asked me if I would do his show. And I initially said no. There's reasons behind my saying no. I'm not playing hard to get or anything like that. But I haven't done regular radio in almost 5 years. And quite frankly, I don't know if I know how to do it anymore. I just don't know if my day hasn't passed in doing broadcast radio. Secondly, I've done it in the past for other people, but I don't particularly like substituting for somebody. Here's the reason why I don't like substituting for somebody. Why don't you like to substitute for somebody, Alex? Well, I'll tell you why. The reason is, and it's a very good reason, is it's not my show. And that's fine, but it's somebody else's show. So now I have to go in and do essentially somebody else's show. And he said to me, just do it the way you do it. Well, I don't know if I can do it the way I do it, because his show it's a very light show. He doesn't get into heavy topics. He doesn't really talk about politics. And so I'm not going to suddenly come on and start, Trump is this and Trump is that, and so on. Because that would not be doing his show. I'm being asked to do his show. So consequently, I have the fear of going in and rearranging his furniture. Like he's lending me his house, and now I'm going in and I'm repainting the walls, and that's not the right thing to do. So I've got to do his show, kind of, at least adapted to me. So I've been, finally I said, I just don't think I'm up for the task. And he said, I've heard you in that little room of yours doing your show. He said, you're more than up to it. You're you're doing great. You know, and you're as good as you've ever been. And this is from a guy who's a consultant. So he charmed me into it. But now I've got to figure out what I'm going to do. And at first I thought it was a 2-hour show, and it used to be a 2-hour show for him. And now I find out it's 3 hours. And it goes from 10 o'clock at night to 1 o'clock in the morning, I think. Or maybe it's not. Maybe I have to check the times. I don't remember. I've got to check it all out. Anyway. So he writes me this note, and he says to me, now I figure, at least the positive part is I'm going to be going into a radio station again, right? And they're going to do it from the CBS studios here in New York. I don't know where they are exactly. I think it's the one in Black Rock, which is their big CBS building. And I'm going to do it from the CBS building. But he said the studio you're going to do it out of is to put it nicely dingy. Well, hey, I sit here every night with a microphone in front of me, and, I don't know if this is dingy, but certainly I'm used to not having a beautiful, soundproof paneled studio. So dingy didn't bother me, but here's the other part. Originally, he did his show out of Philadelphia, okay? And now he does his show, believe it or not, out of his house in Cleveland. And he does it, he has the studio, his whole microphone, everything set up in his laundry room. I know, why he didn't put it in like some other room or something like that, but no, it's in the laundry room. I'm trying to imagine this guy next to a Kelvinator or something like that, or a Whirlpool, doing his radio program. But he does it using a thing they call, there's a name for it, and I can't remember the name right now, but it's a box. And he hooks it in, and it goes to a telephone line, and the telephone line goes down to the station in Philadelphia, where he has a phone screener and a board op. So he does nothing. He just talks into this microphone. They send him little notes, and they tell him when he's got a call. He can see what calls he has coming up. And all I know is that he told me in this note, it's a dingy studio, and then you're going to go in there, and your producer is in Philadelphia. The phone screener is in Philadelphia. And the board op is in Philadelphia. And I'm going, this is going to be one of the, this is all new in radio now. Nobody, I wish we could have set it up so I could do it from here, because I'm used to doing my show from here, okay? But apparently I don't have that box he's got and whatever, so we can't do it that way. So anyway, I just don't know what's going to happen. And so now I'm trying to get guests, so I'm going to try and get my ex-wife to come on and do an interview for about 15 minutes on the show. And I'm trying to get Bubbles, but he says he might not be available as the last man in America who hasn't got a, still has dial-up, right? I'll do him for about 15 minutes, and maybe do Durst for about 15 minutes. Getting all my old friends to kind of join me. And they'll be on 50 different radio stations around the United States, including San Francisco. So, but I don't know, it's got me all just really uptight. Now, I'm the kind of guy who used to feel, hey, you know something? Just give me a fucking microphone and tell me when it's on, and I'll do a show for you. And I just don't know if I'm up to that anymore. I just, I feel that when they dump me unceremoniously over at Sirius XM, that I said to myself, that's the end of my career. Because at that point I was, 73? 73, was it? I'm trying to remember now. 73 years old. And I said, nobody's going to hire me. I'm too old. And I was right. You know, the calls haven't come rushing in from people. And also, in the time that I've been off, the business has changed enough that this guy's doing a show from his laundry room, right? There used to be, you know, the wonderful thing I used to love about radio was I would say, gotta do the show 2 o'clock this morning. Like when I was in New York City, I was on at 2 in the morning. There was actually a shift for that. And I'd then go down to the ABC studios, and I'd go up to the 8th floor of the ABC building, and I would walk into the studio, and there was my engineer, and there was my producer, who is now dead. And I would then I would do my show. And you had that wonderful feeling of you going in somewhere, and all of a sudden somebody's going to flip a button, and all of a sudden a whole bunch of people are going to hear you, right? And so I love that, but that doesn't exist anymore. And now I'm being told I'm going into a dingy studio. I can only imagine what's going to happen in this dingy studio. There's going to be a guy there who just says, well, there's a flip for the switch for the mic, and you turn it on when you're going to talk. And then there'll be a guy talking in my ear telling me, hey, we got 10 seconds until we're back to you again. And, go to line 3 and whatever. And I'm not used to, I always hated this. When a television was very difficult for me, because when you do television, they put these things in your ear called IFBs. And they're really the two-way from either the producer or whatever. Like when I did, when I used to do what's his name show over at MSNBC. He's over at Fox now. I can't even remember his name. Tucker Carlson. When I used to do Tucker Carlson's show, he was in New Jersey. I was in a studio, or what passed for a studio. It was a camera. It was a backdrop of New York City and me sitting there. And I keep hearing these people in the IFB talking to me while I'm trying to talk. And I find that very difficult to do, you know. I don't like somebody talking into my earpiece when I'm trying to talk to you. Because I'm sitting here talking to you, and all of a sudden somebody's going, we're going to go to a commercial in a couple of minutes, and you have somebody on line 7, and yeah. And so that whole part of it gets me. I'm really, really frightened about this, and it's less than 2 weeks away. But what I know what I'm going to do to start off the program, and I know what direction I'm going to have the first hour go. Beyond that, 3 hours, geez, you know. But it isn't really 3 hours. Now, you remember, here, let me show you something. Wait a minute. I'll show you this. This is what you got to see. If you're watching this on the video, then you can see this. See that? Oh, by the way, you notice how everything gets darker because I've got white in the picture. See, huh? Yeah, I can't do anything about that either. I've been trying to figure out. But you see that? That's what you call a clock. Now, you see all the gray stuff in there? Huh? Well, first of all, most of the gray stuff are all commercial breaks. All right? And then at the very top, yeah, well, it's gray at the top too. See, it's gray here. And it's gray down over here. And it's gray down in here. See? And you add all those up, and all those gray spots amount to about, well, let me see here. First of all, let me see here. First is a 6-minute break at the top of the hour because you got newscasts and local commercials and so on. So there's 6 minutes. And then there's another 5-minute break. Okay, so that's 11 minutes. And then there's another 5-minute break. That's 16 minutes. And then there's another 5-minute break. And that's 21 minutes. Let me see here. Let me get that again. 5, 10, 15, 21. 21 minutes. So what I got to fill is 31 minutes, 38 minutes, something like that. So it isn't like here where I'm having to fill up 2 hours a night, okay, just without commercials or anything. So in 2 hours, I will do about the equivalent of one show here. Somehow it just all bothers me. It's all gotten me antsy and just, you know, it's not, it's something, if I didn't have to do it, I probably wouldn't do it. But he is like, he's not forcing me. He's just terribly insistent that I can do it, you know, and I don't want to disappoint him either, you know. Now, I wouldn't have been having this kind of fear, what, 5 years ago. Hell, I'd be taking the opportunity and saying, hey, maybe I can get a job out of this, you know. But, you know, at my age, nobody wants me. I have to be honest about that. And it's not because I can't do the job. Listen to me. I'm sitting here, I'm talking. Been talking now for, what, 15 minutes or something like that? 16 minutes, right? Probably, hopefully engaging you. So I have no problem doing that. But I still think I don't have it the way I used to have it, you know, so. Anyway, I really don't know what to tell you folks, except that I'm not looking forward to it, you know. And but who knows? You know, I may have a great time, and after it's over, say, "Gee, I wish I could do that again." And maybe he'll ask me to do it again on some other occasion. I'll be happy to do it. But you know, it's a very strange kind of situation. I don't even know where the studio is. He says the CBS Studios. Now, that could mean down on 57th Street, or that could mean in Black Rock. Or it could mean that it's a dingy closet in some cheap hotel downtown. I have no idea. But I'll find out, won't I? Okay. Oh, man. You know, it's just not... It's not as easy as it used to be. Doing this every night isn't as easy as it used to be for me. The other night, in fact, I found it was getting kind of frustrating. We were doing we had a pretty good show, but for the first hour or so, I was sitting here I was ready to throw my hands up, you know. And because there were some people trying to drag the show in certain directions and things like that. So, you know, what didn't make it as pleasant as it normally is. Okay, so be that as it may, I'm sure tonight will be a great pleasant time. If anybody decides to call, and we'll start doing that in a couple of minutes. I want to tell you about a movie that a TV show that I've seen. People are always asking me, see any good TV shows lately? See any good TV shows lately? And I tell them, well, no. Or the new Better Call Saul is out. I still think it's kind of boring this year so far, but we'll wait and see where it goes. But there's a thing on Netflix that I started watching, and I'll tell you something I did, which... if you're a real film buff and a real TV buff, you don't do. But when you have Netflix, they have a lot of these shows that are from other countries. They're like in French, right? And then they have subtitles. But you can turn the subtitles off, and you can turn on the English language dubbing. Now, normally I wouldn't do that, but this is a 16-episode series, and it's in German. And to begin with, German is a very terse language, and by that I mean they say a couple of words and it's a whole sentence, right? So if you're trying to read subtitles, they go by too fast. And if you're spending time trying to absorb the subtitles and not absorb the photography, the costumes, and all of that, it's pretty difficult. So what I decided to do was turn off the subtitles, turn on the what do you call it? Turn on the dubbed voices. And after about 10 minutes of kind of not liking dubbed voices, okay, I suddenly got used to it, and I started to absorb the show. And the show is called Babylon Berlin, and it's done by Tom Tykwer, who was the guy who did, remember Run Lola Run, one of my favorite films. And this is the most expensive TV show ever produced for German television. It's done by Sky, and here in America they say a Netflix original. And it takes about 5 episodes to get into it, but once you get into it, I got to episode 15 today. And episode 15 is one of the most tense, dramatic things I've ever seen on television. I mean, I was just seeing it was gut-wrenching. And I'm going, I wanted to avert my eyes at certain times. It was that good, okay? So what I'm suggesting you should do is you should go to Netflix, look up Babylon Berlin. It's there. It's very prominent. And then go turn off the subtitles and turn on the dubbed version, and then lie back and enjoy it. And one of the reasons you want the dubbed version is if you're spending all your time trying to read the subtitles, you're not taking in what is a very plush presentation visually. It's a visually beautiful show. And it's very hard to take that in when all the time you're trying to keep up with the subtitles, which are going by way too fast because German is a terse language. All right? So that's the big problem with it. But if you can get through it, I'm waiting tonight when I get off here. I'm going to go watch the final episode, and it's been picked up for another full season of 16 episodes, which they call 2 seasons. And I'm gonna watch the last episode tonight of this batch because it is so good. I can't tell you how great it is. And it's got music by Brian Ferry, and it's I don't know how to describe it. It takes place in Berlin in 1929. This is during the Weimar Republic. This is right after the war. They're trying to establish their government again. This guy is a policeman, and it's all very corrupt, and it's just really something to watch. So do give it a shot if you get a chance. It's called Babylon Berlin. Okay? All right. Well, I think it's about a minute early, but I think I'll open up the Skype lines and see if anybody calls tonight. And as I say, if they don't, I'll just sign off early and go watch my last episode of Babylon Berlin. Also, I feel constantly like I have to go to the pee tonight, so I need enough people to talk to each other in case I have to run off and pee. But anyway, the lines are open, and I'm just going to wait here while people try to call. Any items here? Oh, I got a picture I'll show you while I'm waiting. Oh well, Phil's calling. Okay, I'll show it to you later. Yeah, here comes Phil. Let me see here. Let me push the button here, and then you can see him. There he is. Hey Phil. Hey, there he is with his NRA hat to piss me off.
If you do what it is you fear, the fear will go away. That's Longfellow's quote, based on what you were talking about with your Westwood One deal.
What is that stupid saying again?
If you do what it is you fear, the fear will go away.
Well, of course, the fear will go away. I know that I will go in and I will be able to do the show. It's just that I don't know if I can do it to my satisfaction. Okay?
If you haven't done it in 5 years, it may not be to your satisfaction. It's like somebody that was a tennis great. If they don't play for 5 years, do you think that your first game out of the chute is going to be...
Well, but I've been doing this for 5 years, every night.
Yeah, so you may find that it's much easier than you thought.
Could be. I don't have
The
to-
whole reason you've been doing this is to keep your chops up.
Yeah, yeah.
So now you'll see whether that has paid off. And if it hasn't, just tell us all to go fuck ourselves, and we'll go watch Howard Stern.
Yeah. Just quit the business once and for all.
But you'll find out whether this exercise, and basically what you're doing is like going to the gym. As a shooter,
I hate going to the gym. By the way, let me tell you that
Yeah.
right now. I hate it.
You hate everything.
No, today I was sitting there pedaling and going, this is a fucking waste of my time. I could be
Probably
at
is.
home, I could be lying down, I could be seeing another episode of Babylon Berlin. I could be doing a lot of things. I'd go home, watch some porn, jerk off, right? And I get a lot of work on my right hand.
Yeah. If you do it, it will come.
if you play with it, it will come.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah. Hey, we're joined hopefully here by Scott Boddicker. There he is. Hello, Scott. How are you, my friend?
Hello.
Yeah. So we got enough people here to do a great show. What do you mean
I don't
hot?
say anything.
Huh?
I don't say anything though.
Well, you do. You know when you say stuff, if nobody else is here, you talk up a fucking storm.
I'm just trying to listen to the crowd.
Yeah, but you're our, this is the Hollywood Squares, and you're our.
I just don't want you to get frustrated and hang up, so I just call in early.
Oh, I see. Well, there's Ray Renati. He's not even out walking the dog tonight.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
No. Yeah.
It's early.
It's early.
It actually hurt my neck holding the camera when I'm walking.
Yeah.
And,
Do you have
and I couldn't get out of bed on Sunday because my neck was all sore from holding that damn thing.
Yeah.
Do you have a selfie stick that can hold?
I
the
had
camera?
one, but it broke.
Is somebody in your house using your bandwidth?
Why, is something wrong right now?
Well, you were like
yes.
little stuttering.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me. I was watching you on Chromecast. Let me go turn it off.
Let me turn that off, and I think you'll be a lot smoother.
Yeah.
Jerky.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
No, he's got to go to the other room. I say. What's Chromecast? Is that stick-in thing they've got?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's like all the other ones, but that's the Google
There's a
version.
Roku stick.
Yeah.
They have an Echo stick now. I think they have that does TV. Google has the Chrome stick.
They got a sharp stick in the eye.
Yeah, you're still kind of stuttering a bit. Stuttering a little
I am?
bit. Well, it's smoother. It's getting smoother now.
Let me close a bunch of junk here.
Yeah. Sometimes what happens is sometimes people call this program and they're freezing up and stuff like that, and they're going, "What's wrong there?" And they go, "Oh, what's his name says this all the
Kevin.
time. Kevin says this all the time. Oh, my kid's playing a video game."
Yeah. And there used to be that guy from. He was a tech guy. Used to call in from like Nebraska, one of those areas.
Yeah.
He lived in San Francisco. He moved to the middle of nowhere and he bought some mansion in a burned out area.
Oh, the guy from Kansas City.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And so anyway, that guy always had problems with his kids watching something, and his bandwidth would be really minimized.
Yeah.
Am I better now?
Yes, it is.
No.
Okay.
I'll tell you what you do. Hang up and then call right back.
Yeah, because it's already screwed up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just wait a second. He'll be back with us.
But it was better.
Yeah. By the way, let me. I want to make note of this only because I think it's important. Is that Phil is going to go have his little procedure on Thursday. Is it?
Yeah.
Now, what is it exactly? It's a hysterectomy,
an
isn't it?
angioplasty.
Oh, I see, an angioplasty.
What they do is stick a balloon up my ass, and they send it all the way up to the heart. And,
how do they do that? By the way,
this procedure is a little bit more complicated than the first one I had.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, what they do is they go into an artery The last time they did it, the artery was right in my wrist.
Yeah.
And left no larger opening than what you get with a bee bite. And then they put up the thing that has a stent as well as a camera as well as dye. And they're able to inject that dye, see where the blockage is, and then they can push a balloon out that opens up the artery, and they rotor out the crap, and they stick a stent in there, which is like a little piece of mesh, like a straw, and that holds the artery open, increasing the blood flow. Well, the one I'm having on Thursday is a little more complicated because they don't know where the blockage stops. So this one, they're going to go in with one probe through my femoral artery, which I think is in the groin, and then the other one will possibly go through the wrist. And one of them has the camera and the dye, and the other one is the working one, which has all the stents. And this is what they call a staged stent procedure. So they'll rotor, put in a stent. If there's still blockage, they'll continue to rotor, put in another stent, and they'll keep stenting until they get to Fresno.
I see. By the way, Keenan's joined us. Keenan, where are you? Are you still in Thailand?
I'm back in Oakland.
Back in Oakland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, is this Thailand guy?
Yeah. Turn on your camera.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah. There we are. Hey, we really enjoyed that, by the way, all that Thailand stuff.
It was fun, actually, to show you that.
We're asking Phil about his procedure on Thursday. So how dangerous is this procedure, Phil? I mean, are you having to make out a will? And if you have, am I in it?
I should have, and I didn't. There's a couple of things I haven't done. I wanted to write a letter to each of my kids, and I've been so slammed, I haven't done that either.
Well, then you can't. Then you can't die. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. What they say about this procedure is that it's rare that death occurs during this procedure. You can, free up something that gives you a stroke or something like that. So I might come back and I'll be the new Steve. Be
the new Steve. So that's the problem with Steve. I wondered what the problem with Steve was.
Yeah.
But I worry about you, Phil. I mean, we give each other a bad time on this program, and I yell at you, and you yell at me, and so on. But I think the world of you, and I worry about you, and I worry. I want to make sure that you're just fine.
Hey, you're a good guy. I wouldn't have stuck in here to help you do your show and keep your chops up and be your arch enemy if I didn't like you.
Yeah, well, we all wish you, how fast do they say you're going to recover from this?
Yeah.
Is it a pretty fast recovery?
Yeah, I'm hoping they keep you overnight, and I'll be home over the weekend, and I think that I'll go back to work on Monday, unless they find that they can't, that I have a blockage at a turn, and that there's another artery off of that turn. Then they can't stent it. Then I'll have to crack me open and do a bypass.
Oh God! So you don't know till you wake up if you got a zipper or not, right?
Yeah. Although I have a friend that just had a triple bypass, and her scar was pencil thin line, 4 inches long.
Really? They've gotten that good at it?
Yeah. Or at least her doctor did.
Yeah.
Mine's going to use a hacksaw.
Yeah.
Kaiser.
I got a Kaiser. Yeah.
Well, they have done taken pictures of that area and so on. Do they think that that's a possibility, or do they think that that's just an outside possibility?
They can't see past the blockage.
Oh.
So once they start going into it and get into the blockage, then they'll know. It'll be a surprise.
So you'll wake up and as soon as you're able to, I want to hear from you.
Yeah, I'll call you.
Because I would, life would not be the same without you, Phil. Let me just say.
Well, thank you. My friends did a Last Supper for me last night, and
What great friends.
Yeah. And the guy Tommy Lafferty, he's been a real fan of yours for a long time. But you know, I'm watching. He's got a YouTube of him when he played at Wembley Stadium in front of 110,000 people, and he's saying, "Oh, Alex Bennett, you know, really, I just talked to Alex Bennett." And you know, he opened for Bon Jovi.
Your friend must have absolutely no life. I mean, if you know, I just talked to Alex Bennett. Hey, yeah, right.
So you made his night.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm just sad you didn't make a will, because you know, then how am I going to get anything of yours? So.
Well, I'm sending you that thing. Hopefully, I'll have time to do it tomorrow. You know, so you'll have a new Behringer.
Yeah, well, that's fine. You know, but if you know, tell Faye that if you go to send me the Mac Pro, okay? Okay.
Okay.
Just tell her to do that. It's not.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's not that I want to benefit from your death, but what the fuck?
Hey, you know, when my father died, somebody came to the house. I was 17 years old. Guy comes to the house and he says, "You know, your father passed away. Do you still think that you guys need that snowblower?"
Oh boy, yeah, that's great.
We lived in New York. You know.
What did he die of?
He had a bypass, and he was one of the first 100 to ever have.
Oh
a
yeah,
bypass.
you told me that. Yes.
And he got blood clots about 10 days after the operation because they didn't really know about that stuff.
Now they don't have. Now it's like, you know,
it's like getting your tonsils out.
People call them zipper jobs. You know.
Yeah. Well, you know, my friend last night, he says, you know, you're going to be okay, and I said, yeah, they give you Jell-O in the hospital, and I like it. You know?
Oh, I hated the food in the hospital.
Well, I like the Jell-O.
You know, it was, and they would bring me this stuff, and it was okay. I mean, it was just, but it was, you know, wasn't much fun. And I was in what was the ward I was in? I was in the
where you go to die.
You go to
palliative
die.
Care.
Palliative care. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
you see what you get when you're on medical.
Well, I had just a kidney stone, right? And now
Yeah.
I find myself being put in this room with a big TV set and everything, and as they're wheeling me in, there's a sign that says palliative care.
Yeah.
And so when the doctor finally came, I said, "Palliative care? Is there something you're not telling me?" And they said, "No, this was the only room available." And so you got lucky.
Yeah.
You know, because at palliative care, you simply push that button slightly, and they're there with more morphine than you ever knew what to do with.
Yeah, but you know how come if you're in a spot like that, who gets to control the TV remote? You know, if there's 6 guys in the room,
no. Everybody had their own fairly decent sized TV set. This is palliative care. This is where you go to die. Okay, wow. You know.
Well, and I can only hope.
And in the middle of the night, I'm lying there, and I've got my own pain, but it's just a kidney stone, right? That I'm passing, and there's a guy over in the next thing yelling and screaming, "I'm in pain! I'm dying!" And people are coming by to see the other people and coming out, leaving crying, you know. And I'm going, "What the fuck am I doing in palliative care?"
Alex, that other guy that was crying had the bronze plan.
Yeah, that's right.
You see, because you had the good plan, you got all the good drugs. They gave him a hammer.
Well, the one thing I learned, and by the way, if there's any pain associated with this and they have to give you anything like morphine or whatever, when they say, "What is your pain level?" say 10. Never say 7, never say 8, never say 9, 10. Because one time I said, it's like a 6, and they gave me the stuff, and I went, "Come on, this isn't even working." Yeah, you know. Well, then, after that, I would say 10, and next thing I know, I'm off to La La Land, man. That stuff was great.
When I got the last stent, I did that, you know, but they were on to me.
The last stent?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, did they give you morphine or something or something?
They gave me something, but I don't think it was as powerful as morphine.
Oh, okay. Well, mine was Dilaudid.
Dilaudid. I've got Dilaudid.
It sounds like a Jerry Lewis drug. Dilaudid.
Yeah. I've got some. I might. Yeah, I might bring my own. You know, hey, I don't need yours. I got my own.
Mine was they gave me Bin Laden.
Yeah,
Osama Bin Laden. Bin Laden.
Yeah. So anyway, so Keenan, how long you been back now?
About a week, a little over a week. Last
Yeah.
week I was going to call in, but during this time I was like falling asleep.
Oh, you were. There was a thing on the CBS Sunday Morning show. Ben Stein does commentaries for him, and he's usually a right winger or whatever. But he was saying that he had advice for Donald Trump, and it was about jet lag. That there is no way to avoid jet lag. No matter what you do, if you sleep on the whole flight, you're still going to wake up and have jet lag. Yeah. And that it's a fact of life, and that when we take somebody like a president and we send him to a foreign country, and then he's got to have meetings deciding the fate of the free world, you know, he's woozy. He's not ready for that. And what his suggestion was, you land Air Force One, you pull it off the tarmac, and then you stay in the plane for 2 days sleeping. And then you get out and do your business.
Which president used to say that he would sort of black out what was going on, and he would stay to the
LBJ.
hours? It was LBJ, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That he would
I think they should put him back on the plane.
Yeah, he wouldn't change his hours, so all the meetings had to be scheduled for U.S. time, East Coast time.
Oh, I see.
As if it was still his time.
Well, what Stein said, and he was right, he said, the trouble is all these presidents try to be so macho, and then they showed pictures of all of them getting off the planes in foreign countries and shaking hands with the world leaders, and they try to pretend, he says, like they're really awake when they're not.
That's why our president didn't even hold hands with his wife.
That's right.
Well, he tried.
There was another reason. She kept pushing it away.
He's holding onto the rail because it's phasing a fall.
By the way,
down.
you don't have to hold that up. We can hear you just fine. Just fine. So Keenan, so what you had was jet lag, obviously.
Yeah, a little bit. It wasn't as bad this time around for some reason.
When I went to China, I didn't have jet lag there. But when I came...
Wasn't it a full 24 hours?
No, it's 12 hours. Exactly. Flat. 12 hours. And I didn't have a problem when I went there. A couple extra naps here and there, you know. When I came back, I had to go to work the next Monday, and I'm going, what the fuck? You know,
I know why. You know, when I used to go to Hawaii a lot. To go scuba diving, and when I would leave here, it was 8 in the morning. But when I'd get there, it would be 10 in the morning their time, and so I had the whole day, and I was refreshed, even though it was a 5-hour flight. Yeah. And coming back, I would leave at 2 in the afternoon. I'd get here 7 o'clock my time, and I'd be exhausted. So I think going east is harder than going west because you pick up time going west.
Yeah. But anyway,
so going to Europe is tougher than going to San Francisco.
Well, let's see here. It takes longer going west, doesn't it, than it takes going east?
Well, you lose time because
no. I'm talking about in actual because of headwinds and everything else.
Yeah.
It's between here and California, it's like about maybe 6+ hours coming and about 8 hours going back.
That's a possibility.
Yeah.
You know, it depends on the route that they take. But that isn't as difficult as the time change going east. You know, so the force of the wind against the plane, yes, can make it take a little bit longer depending on the direction, but it's your sleep cycle when you're thrown into going east is more difficult, and that's when you get the jet lag.
I got to tell you, I'm so old now that I get jet lag just going down to 23rd Street. Not so much going to 23rd Street, coming back from 23rd Street.
It's east? Is it east to your apartment?
No, it's south.
Oh, well, then that doesn't make any sense.
Oh, I see. Well, let's see. Wait a minute. Now, if we're talking about jet lag, let's say I started here when I went to the South Pole, right?
Yeah.
Would I get jet lag?
Well, not if you believe the Earth is flat.
You know something? I wouldn't. You wouldn't get jet lag. You know why? Because the time would be the same. If I go due south, the time would be the same. If I went due west, the time would change.
But isn't it light for 6 months of the year and dark for 6 months of the year?
Yeah, it changed seasons.
Well, yeah, so like if you go to the North Pole or Sweden or any of those kinds of places that are that high, and you experience even Alaska, you experience light for like 6 months, and there isn't any night.
I've often wanted to go to the South Pole, to the South Pole, the actual epicenter South Pole.
People die doing
restaurant
that.
there.
Well, wait a minute, and stand there on the South Pole. Now, let me ask you a question. When I move out of the South Pole, what direction am I going to be going?
Depends if you go up, back, or
If I go
up,
back, or I go forward, or I go sideways, from the actual epicenter, North Pole, I'm dead on.
South Pole.
The only place I can go is north.
North.
No matter what direction I go, I'm going north. As soon as I move out of that epicenter, I can then move north, south, east, and west.
Wow, you could have won Ben Stein's money.
Yeah, and I've often wanted to do that. Sounded like a lot of fun to me.
Yeah, but it's a little cold.
Yeah, but
it's so cold you wouldn't know whether you're going north or south or east or west.
Well, believe it or not, they have a base at the South Pole. I don't think they have one at the North Pole. North Pole's pretty hard to get to. The South Pole, they do have a base, and I've actually seen video of them where they shot the sun straight up from the South Pole, and it just sits there in the sky, kind of just wiggling slightly, and that's it.
Really?
24 hours a day. Yeah.
Was it time lapse?
Yeah, it's time lapse.
There's like a little town down there near the South Pole.
Yeah, it's called Santa's Village. No, what?
Don't they have an ATM and a whole bunch of other stuff there?
Yeah. Yeah, people live there.
But here was the problem. Do you remember that woman who got she had
Oh, she was a doctor and she
cancer.
Had cancer or something like that, and they couldn't get to her for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, because the planes can't go in and out for several months.
Well, that sucks. That's why I'm not going to live there.
Well, they were almost going to try and operate on her there, but they couldn't. They got her out in time, and they saved her life. I think she's still alive. I assume. You know, just my thinking on it. Okay, but anyway, so but you're over your jet lag now, right, Keenan?
Yeah, I'm pretty much back to normal. Surprisingly, I went to work the next day when I got back.
Yeah.
But
what do you do? What do you do?
I work at workers' comp.
Oh, you were telling me that. Yeah.
Yep.
And your wife came back with you, or did she stay with the relatives for a while?
No, they came back with me.
All the relatives came back with you?
No, just my family.
Oh, just your family.
Called chain migration. That's what Trump called chain migration.
By the way, did you see this about Trump's family? You know, chain migration is when somebody comes over, becomes a citizen, and then they bring their relatives with them, and they simply hang around for a while or then become citizens. And it's called chain migration, something that Trump has yelled and screamed about. Well, Melania's parents the other day became American citizens through that very process.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said that they applied the normal way that everyone else does.
I know, but it's still chain migration.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I
wait a minute! You just passed over that, Phil.
I'm living with someone that's a product of that. My fiance is from the Philippines.
By the way, his fiance, she's been his fiance forever.
It's very safe. You give the ring, they leave you alone. And so, anyway, she's got a good Catholic family, 15 brothers and sisters. I don't know how the mother did it, right? I don't know how she walks. But the father, the mother, and all 15, including Faye, came here because her brother was in the military in the Philippines and became a U.S. citizen and was able to bring all of them here.
And so that was chain migration.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're getting blown. Getting blown courtesy of chain migration.
Chain migration, right?
I see.
But hey, I don't see anything wrong in bringing families here, especially if they're productive members of society.
Yes, but your hero. Your hero does.
Yeah,
he railed against chain migration. Every speech he gave was chain migration this, chain migration that, and then his wife's parents come over and they become citizens as a result of chain migration.
Isn't that a what would you call that?
I call it
a real kick in the pants, huh?
Yeah, I call that hypocrisy.
Dean Martin.
Yeah.
Plus, here's the stupidity of his version of chain migration. Then when you're through, you got your in-laws living with you. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Do you think they hold his hand?
I don't know.
Getting off the plane now.
Yeah. So
hey, he's sleeping with their daughter,
Yeah.
I don't think so, actually.
Well, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything going on there now.
Well, talking about people sleeping with kids.
Yeah.
What's going on with the church? I guess the Catholic Church has just kind of released some documents that were.
This is in Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And something like what? How many?
300. Well, there was 300 priests over a 70-year period, and I think there was 17,000 priests total over that period, and then 300 of them are known pedophiles.
That probably meets the normal demographics of the U.S. population for pedophiles,
especially in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But,
well, you know what I always felt, what contributed the most. By the way, we're losing audience for some reason. Now, let me see. How can I bring it up? Fuck you, Phil.
Yeah. you know what I like? What I like about this is they're talking about extending or giving special statutes to the what is it that when you can't be prosecuted after a certain period of time? What is it?
Statute of limitations.
Statute of limitations. So they've opened it up. There's one that they opened up that could be 6 months. Another one that they gave like a 3-year period. So what they're doing is for these certain kinds of crimes, for people to really get get justice, they're opening up the statute of limitations, and they're not allowing people to skirt by. And use that as an excuse.
In what particular cases?
In these priest cases, and
but you can't stop.
No, there was a couple. I just heard it on.
No,
CBS
there were a couple that fell within the window.
No. There was they were talking about a special thing where they were able to open the statute of limitations.
No, they were thinking of trying to pass a law. To change the statute of limitations, because, and by the way, Keenan, my picture was right in your face, so I now have adjusted it so that people can see Keenan. What were we saying? It was about the statute of limitations. I think what I heard was that there was a statute of limitations. Of course, it holds because it was law at the time that these crimes were committed. But what they're thinking of doing is changing the statute of limitations.
Yeah, there's a statute.
Yeah, the statute of limitations on everything, and they're thinking of where pedophilia is concerned, having no statute of limitations.
Well, I guess with murder, there's no statute of limitations.
Oh no, there is murder. Murder, there's no statute of limitations. Right.
And I don't know about kidnapping. I
think there is.
Yeah.
A statute.
I think there's one or two other things that there's no statute of limitations, but murder is one of them.
I often wondered what was the purpose of a statute of limitations?
It goes back to common law that every 7 years you got a clean break. It was something to do with common law. I don't know. The kings made this stuff up.
No, but it seems to me if you robbed a bank and stole the money, in 1950, and now they found out that you were the guy that did it in the year 2000 or something, it still should hold, but it doesn't. I mean, who was that guy that supposedly jumped out of the plane and they never found him again?
D.B. Cooper.
D.B. Cooper, right. Cooper.
Yeah.
I wonder
Didn't
if
it just come up in the news a month or so ago?
Oh, I don't know. Every now and then they think they found out.
Maybe it was a TV show.
Who D.B. Cooper was,
yeah.
or where he wound up, or if he was alive. Quite frankly, I think he got impaled by a pine tree. But
Yeah. Who knows if he ever really jumped?
What do you mean? What do you think he did? He stayed on the plane and disguised himself?
No, can you get into like the wheel well or any of those kinds of things in the plane?
Not without freezing to death in most cases.
Yeah.
There have been people who have actually hit in wheel wells when a plane took off, and they pretty well found them after the plane landed, but frozen. There
was some crazy lady that in the San Jose airport that used to keep getting on planes without a ticket, and I think that's how she did it and might have lived.
Well, how about this story?
She actually boarded the plane.
She boarded the plane?
Yeah, but I think they caught her in Europe or something like that.
They've caught her a ton of times.
But I think they actually have her in jail or something in Europe.
Yeah.
Now, my question is, how about this guy who stole the plane a couple of days ago?
Yeah.
He's not good at landing.
No, you're definitely not good at landing. But
ran out of gas, I believe.
Is that what
that's what happened? He ran out of
planning on
gas.
crashing it. He said he was going to take the nose down after he was done doing his barrel roll.
Well,
I think going upside down.
I don't think he wanted to kill himself. They say he seemed to act like he wanted to live. But how this guy, just like you and I, okay, suddenly, number one, he could get behind the wheel of a plane. I understand that. Okay, he was working for the airline, but then
they said he had no connection with what he was doing and the ability to drive a plane.
Right.
Yeah, and then he taxis down the runway, and they clear him for takeoff. And he seems to know how to get that plane off the ground. Now, I don't know about you, but I certainly wouldn't know how to. And he mentioned something in the two-way conversations with the ground that this is just like the video games I play.
Right.
I looked it up, Alex.
Flight simulator.
I looked up the flight simulator for that plane,
Yeah.
and there are very, very detailed flight simulators all over the place for that particular plane. It tells you every step on how to take that thing off in detail. Every single button you have to push, why you have to push it, how you take it off, what you have to do in preparation.
Wow.
Yeah. And I could see him, he's, learning it right there on his computer.
Wow. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, is anybody else going to call tonight? Come on. Join the fun.
I think I heard they said he learned how to do it on YouTube also. Maybe some pilot instructor, showed him out on YouTube.
There are flight simulation games, and then people put videos on YouTube showing how to use it.
Oh, okay.
And that's what I watched, and it's super realistic looking.
The only flight simulator, here comes Patrick. The only flight simulator I ever owned was for operating the shuttle.
A space shuttle?
A space shuttle. And guess which one it was?
Challenger?
Challenger. Yeah, it was a Microsoft Macintosh game. Simulator for the Challenger. It was funny. It was funny because when you played it, it always had the same end. The result was always the same. You could never succeed in flying the damn thing. But when I was selling all my stuff to move out to New York, I tried to get rid of it, and I figured there'd be a market for it. That I've got the Challenger game.
Sick video playing people that would want to.
Yeah, sick video game people who want to. Yeah, sure.
Hey, look who's here.
Yeah, lucky us. Hello, Patrick.
Hello.
How are you doing, my boy?
I am am just doing as exceedingly well as he can be.
Wow. Yeah. Your microphone was better the other night for some reason. It was the best it's ever been. What did you do then? Anything?
No, I haven't done anything to it.
Oh, now it's fine.
Yeah.
He paid his Skype bill.
He paid his Skype bill. By the way, Skype isn't going to be changing programs.
They heard you.
It isn't going to be changing programs for the time being. So I don't have to worry about on September 1st giving up this program or the way in which we do it in this lovely group of people as you see them here, because with the new one you can only have 4 people up at one time. But they decided not to do it because they had so many complaints from people. And so, if enough people complain, I guess they would do something about it.
Well, I'd like to know how those people were able to complain.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though. I have this program, right? I have the old Skype Classic. And fine, okay, now you've decided you're not going to go to the new one. Why does it still have the sign up saying that you have to absolutely go to the new one? And why is it every now and then a thing comes up on my screen and says, would you like to update now?
Yeah. Mine does that too.
Yeah, stop that already. You told us you were not going to have to. Huh?
Mine doesn't do that.
No, because you know why? It doesn't do it on the Mac. It does it only on the PC.
Yeah.
Microsoft hasn't mastered the Mac yet.
Yeah.
And how to be totally annoying.
I watched a special the other day. Patrick might be interested in this. It's an exoskeleton that they developed for paraplegics. And there was this one guy.
That was on CBS Sunday Morning.
Yeah, okay. It was very interesting. Did you see it, Patrick?
No.
It was amazing technology.
Yeah, I had one made. It was on manual though, and it was too much to get in and out of it.
This was all electronic, and it was
the
amazing.
Things they were showing though seemed to be a little bit cumbersome. They're like these big giant.
Was it like braces?
No, they're not like braces. They're literally something that goes along the side of your each leg, and then it's hooked to a backpack. I mean,
they call it an exoskeleton.
When they say, hey, we've got this new development, this is wonderful. Yeah, but is it practical for the person? If I want to see Patrick walking, I want to see him doing it as effortlessly as possible. Otherwise, he's probably happy with his wheelchair, right, Patrick?
Well, yeah, but you got to look at it this way. It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
You might say that.
No. I mean,
bada boom.
I would be the one that would want to be testing it because it like I said, I had a manual one that I had to put on, and then it was using crutches or a walker, and it's just too much BS.
Right.
But if there's people out there willing to do it, it'll just keep getting refined, which would be good.
Didn't the guy, Alex, who was using that one on TV, have crutches?
One of them had crutches, was using crutches as an aid.
Yeah.
But that what made him happy was he was able to walk upright, that he hadn't been upright in years, But let me throw this out to Patrick. Years ago, when I interviewed Stevie Wonder, we talked about his blindness, and I said, can anything ever be done about your blindness? He said, people have come to me with possibilities that they could make me sighted. Because I think he was sighted when he was born, and he lost his vision very early on, like at 2 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And I said, so why haven't you tried it? And he said, I've gone this long without seeing. I'm getting along just fine. If all of a sudden I could see, it would change my whole life and the way I do things. He said, I don't know if I want to see now. Now, if
as a half blind or whatever person, I've had blind people say the same thing. Now, if they could do something for me, which right now they can't, I'm going to check again before the year is up and see.
Mm-hmm.
You never know with the technology, but if they could give me perfect eyesight, I would certainly at least consider it, because I know what it's like.
Yeah, but you were originally you were sighted, right? And you lost your vision.
No. I've had about the same. It was cataracts, and what happened?
No, wait a minute. I'm talking about.
Did you have cataracts as a kid?
It was the incubator. It was the oxygen and the light.
Oh, so you've been kind of not blind, but sight impaired for most of your life.
Oh yeah, for as long as I can remember. Absolutely, it was discovered when I was 9 months old.
Yeah, so you can get along fine without suddenly having to see. If tomorrow, imagine somebody who's totally blind, and then all of a sudden, I can't
even imagine it. If I cover my eyes, I can't. I just can't. It's such a different world than what I have. I'm so
right. But what I'm saying is, if you were totally blind, I don't know if suddenly being sighted, it would make your life better. It might make it more confusing, wouldn't it?
I would think maybe it would. Yeah. I think it might. By the way, is Aretha Franklin still alive?
So far as we know, yeah, she's still alive. Yeah. I think there's all the things. What are they going to do when she dies?
Play her music.
Oh, wait a minute. But here's the point. What are they going to do when she dies? They've been spending the last 2 days saying she's on death's door, right? She's going to die at any moment, right? When she finally dies, it's not going to be like, let's do all the tributes. They're already doing the tributes.
When Prince died, it was kind of a quick thing, and so they played his music to death for a week or two after he passed away. But you're right, with Aretha Franklin, they're doing the tributes to her now while she's on death's door.
Yeah. And so when she finally drops dead, what's everybody going to do? Let's do it again?
Trump will say something on Twitter, and
he'll probably call her dumb because she's black.
He'll probably say she's too lazy.
He'll use the N-word.
Yeah. By the way, my friend Penn Jillette today came out and said that when he did The Apprentice, he heard Donald Trump saying that word like crazy. He said so much so that it made him uncomfortable.
Right. And you.
What?
And you too. The N-word.
Yeah, and you too. Yeah. What do you think about it, the whole flap over his...
as long as the N-word, not the Jew word, I'm okay.
What kills me is I'm watching MSNBC, right? And they're yelling and screaming about, Omarosa has heard this tape that was done when he was doing The Apprentice and blah, blah, blah.
Innuendo.
And you go, are you sitting here saying, MSNBC, you wish you could lay your hands on it? You were the fucking network that put that show on the air in the first place. Somebody at NBC should have the rights to all the outtakes.
The tape that Omarosa quoted that she had heard from someone else who heard the tape was supposedly this guy Frank Lutz. Now Frank Lutz
Luntz.
Yeah, he's a semi-independent pollster.
Yes,
I'm not sure whether he leans to the right or the left. Probably a little bit to the right, but I'm not sure.
He leans very much to the right, and he's the guy who used to come up with terms that the Republican Party would use for things like when you suddenly would hear a phrase come into popularity. All of a sudden, every Republican was using the same phraseology. That's because Luntz would put out a memorandum to the Republican Party about use this term to negate that other term that would be used to describe it.
Somebody's got to do it. But what he said is that he was supposedly the person that heard the tape, and he said he didn't hear any tape, and he never was even asked by Omarosa if in fact the information that she put on page 129 or something was accurate.
Well, wait a minute. She didn't say Frank Luntz is the one who let her hear the tape.
According to what I read
read on where?
I think it was like NBC. It was on my phone.
No, I don't think it was Luntz at all. It was somebody else that she said she won't name who has the tape, and that she, after she put the book to bed, okay, she went out to the West Coast, and this person had it, and she listened to it, and she heard it with her own two ears.
From what I heard, she only heard somebody else who supposedly heard
she
the
said she heard it. She
Yeah.
said what
Well,
happened
I'll see
was,
if I can find
wait a
that
minute,
Frank Luntz
wait a
thing.
minute. When she wrote the book,
Yeah.
she hadn't heard it. She'd heard about it, but she hadn't heard it, and that's what's in the book. Then subsequently, she went out to the West Coast and met up with a person who supposedly had a copy of it, and this person played it for her, and she heard it with her own two ears.
Yeah. Well, Luntz. Let's see. I'll read this article.
Imagine he starts swearing it like crazy. That'd be unbelievable. He probably denied it, even with his own voice.
Well, you know.
Well, Luntz says Omarosa is a liar and the book is made up. But
Luntz is also a Republican operative.
Oh, Omarosa stands by book claim about Frank Luntz after he calls it a flat-out lie. So Luntz...
No, but what did she say about Luntz in the book?
Yeah, she says Luntz. Let me read this one, Frank.
Gee, he's reading something for a change, folks.
He's taking a little homework.
I believe that the deal was with Luntz. If I push on this, it's probably going to make me look at an ad.
No, but what I'm saying is that it is a reference to Luntz in her book in reference to the tapes that included the N-word, or is it in reference to something else with Luntz?
I believe it was the tapes that included the N-word, but I'm going to read the article
because
again
I never heard
sure.
that Luntz had any ownership of those tapes.
Yeah, that's because you only listen to the Communist News Network.
Wow, you believe anything.
This is, it's the Washington Times I'm reading.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, well, it's all the news that's fit to print.
Yeah. We just made this one up so Phil will read it. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, talk about something else and I'll see what I can find.
Yeah, I'll talk about something else. Yeah. What else? What else is happening in the news that we?
I got it here. It says, he says, Luntz says, I'm in a book on page 149. Omarosa claims to have heard someone who heard me that I heard Trump use the N-word. Luntz tweeted, not only is this flat out false, I never heard such a thing, but Omarosa didn't even make an effort to call me or verify. Very shoddy work.
Okay, but forget
anyway,
forget Frank Luntz. My friend Penn Jillette, when he was doing The Apprentice, heard him use the N-word repeatedly to a point where, as Penn put it, it made me feel uncomfortable.
Does he have tape?
What? No, he doesn't.
Does he have tape?
No, but what he said is, I absolutely believe there is tape because there was tape rolling at the time.
Okay.
Who is that? Who is that Luntz? I've heard the name, but I got lost.
Frank Luntz is a guy who's a pollster, but he always worked in the service of the Republicans, and he would also come up with phraseology and so on, catchphrases for them to use. Don't call it this, call it that. He could have been the guy who came up with fake news for all I know.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, Patrick.
When I heard about Omarosa, I was thinking to myself, anybody who takes her seriously have got to be the same people who hated her before, just like they hated Scaramucci. And then when he came out and talked shit about Trump, everybody thought that he was the next coming of Christ. And now everybody believes this goofy bitch the same way. Now, if she can produce a tape, I'll believe it. Until then, I don't give a shit. I don't disbelieve your friend Penn Jillette.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any tape. But I would believe him before I'd believe her because she's a goof since the outset. And now everybody's supposed to believe her. She can kiss my ass.
Yeah. Well,
It's the same as that goof Scaramucci. I mean, I remember everybody. We had people on this panel when Trump was elected. What a slime bag, this, that, and the other, and he was elected. All of a sudden, anything he said was gospel. I mean, let's
well,
not be
I have to take issue with you on this one, Patrick, because Omarosa is so disliked that even Democrats are saying, you have to take what she says with a grain of salt. Obviously, we'd love to believe her. But you're right about, Scaramouche. When he was saying bad things about Trump, all the liberals were going,
Did he ever say bad things about Trump?
I don't think he did.
Think he did.
I don't think he did.
I don't think he did.
No.
And I think he's doing a good job on Fox News. He's a commentator.
I wouldn't know. I don't watch Fox News.
Yeah, well, I think he's doing a pretty decent job. And he's pretty level-headed. He's certainly not going into any cursing tirades.
Did you hear he was thinking maybe of running for president of the United States?
Oh,
yeah.
What's his name? Stormy Daniels' lawyer.
Oh, yeah, Michael Avenatti.
Avenatti. There is rumors he's posturing like he's going to run for president.
He's just looking for more advertising, but
well, actually, what do you think, Ray? What would you think of Avenatti running against Trump? I mean, I think he's a very persuasive person.
I think he's persuasive in what he does, but I don't know him beyond being the lawyer for Stormy Daniels. I don't know.
Sounds like a beat.
I think he's a weasel.
I don't know what he could do beyond that.
Why is he a weasel?
I don't know if he's a weasel.
Why is he a weasel?
He reminds me of Peter Strzok, who got his just desserts today. Or yesterday.
An honorable 35-year veteran of the FBI lost his job because the President of the United States had him pushed out. Yes, Patrick.
Somebody's microphone is bleeding.
Yeah, let me mute that because I'm getting home anyway.
It's always Steve.
Of course.
Yeah.
Avenatti has close-set eyes, just like Strzok. You can't trust those guys.
Well, Trump has small hands and a small dick.
You can't trust those guys.
I don't have to shake his hand or fuck him.
I was watching the history of comedy or something, and some comedian said, and this had to do not with Kim Jong-un but his father, because that's when the whole thing was taped. And he said, you can't trust a guy with a Napoleon complex who comes from a country that has people that small.
Was he talking about Cambodians?
He said, how small do you have to have a Napoleon complex in North Korea?
But if everybody's that small, why would he have a Napoleon complex?
Well, that's the joke.
I'm thinking too much.
By the way, they did this thing this week. Anybody been watching this history of comedy on CNN that they're doing?
No.
This week they did people who were dead, comedians who were dead.
Pretty funny.
Yeah, and they didn't. They did. It got my friend Bill Hicks was there, was listed there, and a whole bunch of them. And after it was over, I looked at Girlfriend and I went, in that whole hour, the two omissions: no Sam Kinison and no Lenny Bruce.
Yeah.
How can you miss? If you're doing a documentary on comedians who died, how can you miss Lenny Bruce?
Can't.
Yeah, he's true. Yeah. I mean, he should be number one, no?
He should be number one, yes.
That's disrespectful.
Wow, that's crazy. They talk about Richard Pryor, I hope.
No, you know something? That's another one they missed.
They missed Richard Pryor.
Yes.
That's for next season.
That's screwed up.
I mean,
that'll be the next series.
How about Andy Kaufman? They have Andy Kaufman.
They missed Andy Kaufman.
Oh, Jesus!
God, you're coming up with all the ones they missed. They missed all the good ones.
They had Robin Williams, right?
Yeah, of course.
But he's not a comedian.
What about? Did they have Jack Benny? No, probably. Right? He would be.
Well, no. I mean, let's have a break off time. I mean, obviously, if we start naming George Burns and Jack Benny and people like that, they're all dead. But you know, when we say people who died exceedingly young or in tragic situations, Kinnison died in a car crash. Lenny Bruce, an overdose. Andy Kaufman died at like 32, 33.
Yeah. Who was that heavy-set comedian that was very physical that died at 33?
Well, no, but he was mentioned. Chris Farley.
Chris Farley.
You know, they mentioned him. But you're right. They didn't mention Andy. How could they not mention Andy Kaufman?
How can you not mention Andy Kaufman?
John Candy?
He changed everything.
I thought you were talking about John Candy, too.
John Candy also.
Yeah, John Candy.
They mentioned him as well.
Okay.
You know, but you know the fat comedians are going to go young. You know.
John Belushi?
Yeah.
Overdose.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it was a nice tribute to people, but for crying out loud, you left out. And then there were a couple of comedians I never heard of in my life. They did show my friend Robert Schimmel. They mentioned Schimmel, mentioned Hicks. You know, Schimmel was a crazy death. Schimmel had cancer, and then he got cancer again. He wrote a book called "Cancer on $5 a Day" or something like that. And then he got cured of that, and then he got some problem with his liver where he had to get a liver transplant. And while he was waiting for the transplant, he gets in a car with his daughter, who rams the car into a telephone pole or something, and he dies.
Oh my God!
I mean, that to me is the strangest thing, because I always knew that he was sick from one thing or another, and then he was, maybe he wasn't going to last too long. All of a sudden, somebody says, "Oh, you heard Schimmel's dead." I went, the cancer finally got him, huh? They went, "No, his daughter drove the car into a tree."
Oh,
wow. That's kind of like Grace Kelly. Didn't her daughter, when she was driving, there was a car accident in Monaco, went off a cliff?
Was Grace Kelly driving? Wasn't Grace?
No, it was the daughter was driving. Princess, I forget which princess it
Caroline?
was.
Caroline?
Yeah.
It might have been. I'm not sure. There's two sisters.
Yeah.
And I don't know which one it was.
Yeah. That's got to fuck you up if you killed your father in a car crash.
That's why I never let my kids drive me. I won't let them me. I don't want them to be burdened by that.
My kids just drive me crazy.
But if she knew that he was going to die of cancer anyway, does it really make any difference?
Well, he might have been able. They do change out livers. If he had liver cancer, some people survive it.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, he needed. I think he needed a kidney, liver transplant, kidney transplant, something like that. But and then here's the horrible thing about Schimmel's life. When I first met him, he had a son who was dying, a child. The kid was like nine or so when I first met up with Schimmel. And he was out on the road working every day of the year because they didn't have any medical insurance, and he had to pay for all these treatments for the kid. And
GoFundMe?
And he took this kid. No, he took this kid wherever he went, and it was this whole thing. And the kid finally died. So there was that tragedy. And then he and his wife, who had stayed together for the longest time because the kid was dying, finally broke up. They had a daughter. He still had a daughter left, but and he went and ran off with the babysitter. How's that for a cliche?
Wow.
Grace Kelly died. Grace Kelly died when she was driving the car.
She was driving?
Yeah, I thought so.
No.
Okay. I thought the daughter was driving.
Daughter was in the car though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Windy roads. Maybe windy roads. I might have misread it. I don't know. Yeah, windy roads. She drove off a cliff.
I've been on those roads, and they are windy and they are steep.
It's the second level of roads. that come out of I know
Out
the
of the
roads.
tunnel?
In fact, if you watch To Catch a Thief with Grace Kelly, he's driving down some of those roads, and you can see how you could have an accident on those roads.
Yeah. Wow.
But there's the Bosch Corniche, and then there's the Prime Corniche, and the Prime Corniche is where I think she had her accident. Yeah. You don't know what we're talking about, do you, Keenan?
I do.
There's a
I'm
bunch of
pretty
old farts talking about movie actresses who they knew existed.
I'm an old fart too, you know.
How old are you, Keenan?
I'm going to turn 55 next month.
Really?
He looks 25.
You look better now than most of us are going to look 5 days dead. You know.
55. Jeans.
You're 55?
55? I thought you were like 25.
What do you got a the picture of Dorian Gray behind you?
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. In fact, you're older than Patrick, and you're older than
Yep, I'm an old fart compared to them.
Than Tony.
He's almost as old as Scott.
I'm 56, so I got you, mate.
I don't think he's going to catch up.
Or my hair or something. Is that you color your hair?
Nope, but I've got white coming up, that's for sure.
Yeah, oh, really? Yeah, I see it. I see it.
See you.
Yeah, I have one errant hair.
Now, what is your background? Are you from Thailand, did you say?
He's an alien.
No, I'm a Chinese American.
Chinese American.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So, hey, do you know the secret to Chinese food? Why you eat it and you're hungry 2 hours later?
Oh,
That's
Jesus.
Bada boom.
That was bad.
Do you know I'm never hungry 2 hours later from
Have you already
Chinese food?
noticed? They don't eat the Chinese food, Alex, when you go in the store. They don't eat the food, right? Do you eat that type of food? That's American Chinese, right?
Well,
Yeah, that's
all
not
right.
real Chinese
When
food.
I was a kid, I worked for a thing called the Chinese Food Express, delivering Chinese food.
Yeah.
And part of what happened there is every night they would let us eat whatever we wanted to eat at the takeout place. The reason being that they didn't want us to steal it. Okay, so they would just feed us. I got so sick of Chinese food working for the
What would you
Chinese
go
Food
for, the
Express.
boneless
I couldn't
strips?
eat Chinese food for about 5 years after that.
Really?
Yeah, and on top of that, the smell of Chinese food seeped into all my clothing.
Oh, yes.
So, what was your favorite dish?
Yeah, what was it? Boneless berries?
I always liked the fried prawns.
Oh, they couldn't make you eat pork either, huh?
Oh, I would eat pork. Yeah.
Make the Jew eat pork. Give it to him for
He's
free.
trying to get you to eat the pork.
No, but
I
you know, what we did do though, we stole anyway. What we did is we had a staple gun we brought with us, and we would go out and deliver this food. And while we were going out, if we wanted a snack, we just open up the package, take something out of there, and then staple it shut again.
There was a Seinfeld or a Larry, what's his name, episode about somebody stealing the prawns out of his takeout. Do you remember that one? Was it Seinfeld or was it?
Wait a minute,
Larry David.
wait a minute. Where's Kevin tonight, Kevin? Where are you? You look like you're in San Francisco.
I can't believe Phil just asked that Chinese food question. What the hell?
Doesn't everybody want to know?
No, because
That was interesting.
because I always feel stuffed after I eat Chinese food.
Where are you exactly?
There's no eggs in egg roll either.
I'm down in Cannery Row in Monterey.
Where's Kevin?
Nice.
Kevin, where are you right now that we're seeing?
He said Cannery Row in Monterey.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, very famous place, especially in Steinbeck land.
You got a full house.
Do we have a full house?
Becky,
We
right
do.
now.
We have
This is the Intercontinental Hotel here. See that there?
Yeah.
Real fancy place.
One of the most famous Steinbeck books was Cannery Row.
Yeah. It's a pretty nice night out down here. I
Yeah.
thought I'd call in when Phil made that.
I got to
Chinese
tell you
food
though,
comment. Bring us some seafood. Bring us some seafood.
I know
Just had some
this is
slime
going to
chowder.
make me to Scott Bodiger sound like a pussy, but the heat is just starting to get to me. I'm going crazy from the heat, and not from the heat itself, from the air conditioner. And the other night, a girlfriend, she doesn't understand the basic operation of an air conditioner.
Oh God!
She thinks if you turn it down.
I've been listening to this for a week.
I know.
I know, but I can't get her to understand that what you do is you set it at something like 76, and then when it goes above 76, the heater below 76, it cuts off for a little while until it needs to start cooling again, and then you kind of get an average temperature going on in the room. Instead, she turns it down to like 70, and then it's never going to turn off. And I go in after the show, and it's like I can't get to sleep because like they're icicles forming in my nostrils.
It's like a meat locker in the bedroom.
Yes.
Kevin, you've got a little bit of ambient
Just like my
noise.
mother's bedroom. I put it on 61.
Let me mute real quick.
Yeah. Yes, Jack. Jack
You
Bishop
should
is
wish
joining us.
that your wife set the temperature as high as 70. Donna keeps the house so cold that we have friends that will not stay with us when they come to town because it's too cold.
I would have no problem. I just
Why is that? Why do women do that?
It's hormonal after a certain point.
After
Why
a certain
do
point,
old
it's-
men like it? They like it like at 80. You know, I've gone into people's houses.
I don't like it at 80, but I like it to be comfortable. I don't like it to be uncomfortable. And I tried to get I finally had to go into the guest room without any air conditioning and go to sleep in there because it was so cold in the bedroom I couldn't sleep. You know.
A couple of times this summer, I have actually slept under 2 blankets because things have been so cold in my house.
I'm sitting in our bedroom watching TV with a sweatshirt on.
You probably got a glove. You bet you come over, he's got a turtleneck. And you know what? It's got to be cold in there. You got big rooms. And
I can hardly wait to see the electric bill this month.
Oh, Conrad's gonna love you. You gotta get a Christmas.
Because I switched out our 10,000 BTU for another one we had in the house. It was 12.5 BTU. Okay, and so that's got to be eating up a little more electricity. And she's got it on stun all the time.
She's trying to free shower. It's like that.
Well, she's doing a good job of it. You know.
Whatever happened to the comfortable room temperature was 68 degrees.
Oh, for her, that's 68 degrees. No, she wants 64. You know.
Yeah, well, yeah, but they used to say the comfortable room temperature was 68.
Yeah.
Well, I remember, Phil, that Carter, during the energy crisis,
he said wear a
people
sweater.
were thinking 72, and he said, no, set it down to 66 to 68, so you're not
wear
using
a
so much
sweater.
heat, and wear a sweater, yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, so, I mean, what does Marjorie keep the thermostat at? You said 64.
Well,
but
I've finally gotten her to put it at like 74, but it still doesn't turn on and off. She says, I don't like to hear the air conditioner go on and off, on and off, on and off. And I'm going, but that's how it works.
Did you look into those?
It's a waste.
Did you look into those?
Well, say that
coolers?
again, Ray, so she can hear it when she listens to the program.
Marjorie, you're wasting electricity and causing global warming.
Exactly.
Okay.
Did you look into that evaporative cooler? That you put the water in and it.
No,
cools?
I've used those. They don't, you know, in here. Come on.
Yeah.
It's like you don't know. It's terrible in New York.
They'll
right
do
now.
up to 500 square feet.
It's supposed to be
And they're very
90. It's
comfortable.
supposed to be up to 90 degrees again tomorrow. I know, Jack and Scott. I'm a pussy because how hot was it today where you were?
87, 88.
It's been very cold here, actually. I actually wore a sweatshirt this morning outside.
Really?
What was it, 85?
I don't know. It was like in the 70s.
Well, the mornings could get cold in Texas, and then it's the afternoons.
It was a little rainy, but yeah. It was.
Oh, today we had thunder, man. Oh, I was going to record it just so you guys could hear.
You see, Mr. Bennett, you have thunder. We have thunder here every time it rains.
Well,
just not every time.
Yeah, we're supposed to have another thunderstorm again tonight.
Oh, I hope
Yeah.
I hate that thunder. I hate that.
Yeah.
I don't like when it does it.
Yeah, well, it's how's the weather? How's the weather out in Wisconsin, Patrick? Has it been hot?
It's been great. It's been 88, 90. I'm happy as hell.
Why are you happy as hell?
Because I'm in a wheelchair and snow sucks my ass. So
Yeah.
any weather other than snow, it can be 50 below zero and I'm happy. 90 degrees, I'm happy. Whatever, as long as it's not snowing.
I see.
I sweat my balls off and I'm happy as
In Wisconsin, there was something going on with Scott Walker today in the primary election. What's going on with that in Wisconsin?
with our climate. Who was deciding who was going to run against Walker. And
Yeah.
If you wave real hard, you can see Renee from here.
Yeah.
Oh, seagull.
Oh, hey.
Yeah,
That
I
sounds
couldn't
like-
hear what you were saying, Scott. I mean, Patrick.
Hey, Bennett, I heard you talking about you did takeout. You were the takeout guy at a Chinese restaurant. When I took Donna to San Francisco for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
I made the mistake of taking her to a authentic Chinese restaurant. You know, not that, Americanized Chinese.
Would you go to Sam Woe's?
Yeah. So
San Woes.
Yeah, that's where they yell
Remember
at you.
Edsel? Do you remember Edsel at San Woes in the 80s?
Oh,
guy
the
used to yell
waiter?
and- Yeah, he used to yell and scream at you.
Yeah,
Sit
that's
your
what
own
I'm
on that
talking
table! I don't have time for this shit! We used to go there and get abused.
You cannot share.
You cannot share food!
So, bunch of racist pigs. So,
I swear to God.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
so anyway.
Pardon me, we have Keenan here. He is Chinese, after all.
Did you ever go to Sam Woe's, Keaton?
Yeah, a few times.
You're 55. so
I'll
you
tell you
probably remember the
something.
guy we're talking about.
When I went to China and we went into a Chinese restaurant, there was nothing familiar there.
That's right.
They don't cook in China like they cook. Am I right, Keenan?
It's totally different. It was kind of funny because I remember when I first landed in Beijing with my friend. I said, "Okay, we can't say we're going out for Chinese food. We're going out for food."
Yeah, you're not going out for Chinese food, right? Anybody know where there's American
Still get
around
one
here?
from column A and two from column B?
Oddly enough, the best thing that I had that I just ate like crazy wasn't even Chinese. It was Vietnamese. It was Vietnamese. It was noodles in black bean sauce.
Yeah, it's very
Oh
good.
God, damn it! We kept going back to this place. I would
plate
order it
was-
like crazy. What?
This isn't Chinese food. And I said, no, you're having Chinese food probably for the first time in your life.
Well,
'Cause
everything's
this is the kind of Chinese food I wanted. Why did you bring me here?
in Italy. I don't think maybe you can get them now, but they never had round pizza.
It was always square.
Yeah, it was
like
always
the Sicilian.
The Sicilian, yeah. Basically, yes, Ray.
When I went to China, in Beijing, the restaurants on the side streets would have cages with animals in them, and you could like choose your animal that you wanted to eat. And they had monkeys and different kinds of rodents and all kinds of stuff. No, I didn't do this.
Of course not.
Well, we have an area here in New
I
York.
couldn't believe it.
We have
One
an-
place had a big dog in a cage.
We have an area here in New York.
Yeah,
We have an
you know,
area here in New York
that's-
which is
that you
prime.
never
Which
saw
is,
before.
wait a minute. We have an
One at a
area
time.
here in New York which is primarily Chinese, called Flushing, which we call Flushing. And
that was a Jewish neighborhood.
Flushing. No, it's Chinese now. And we went to one place with Marjorie's boss, who's Chinese. From actually lives in Shanghai. No, not in Shanghai, in Singapore. And
But he lived in Queens.
But he took us into this Chinese grocery store, and they were selling live, huge turtles.
Oh, they're gonna cook them?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you grow up eating turtle, it sounds like a good idea. Just like
I
that.
have a turtle story.
Shells are
Back
too.
in the day, before ATMs, I didn't have any cash. And my friend and I, we didn't have any cash on us, and the bank didn't open until Monday. And so what we did was we rummaged around my kitchen, and I had a can of turtle soup and a can of new potatoes, and that's what we made. And years later, he bought a can of turtle soup to commemorate that day. But now you cannot buy turtle soup in this country. It's an endangered thing, and you can only get imitation turtle soup.
Was it mock turtle soup?
Yeah, mock turtle soup. Right.
Yes,
imitation turtle soup.
Yes, Jack.
Back in the 90s, my stepson worked for a company that was opening up a new facility in Beijing.
Mm-hmm.
And so he goes to China. And the poor kid is so shocked because the most popular restaurant that he encountered in Beijing,
KFC.
McDonald's.
Well, it's KFC now.
KFC. Oh, at least they've stepped up. My God, you know.
God, when I went there like 25 or 30 years ago, they had a 2-story Pizza Hut in Beijing.
Oh.
Yeah.
I heard a podcast the other day about the first McDonald's that was built in the Soviet Union. And it seems as though it was so difficult for them to do it because everything you needed to do, you needed a permit for. And the bureaucracy was beyond terrible. But they got it built, and they had to have security guards because there were so many people that wanted to eat McDonald's after they opened it up. They had to have security guards to keep the line straight in the Soviet Union. But
wow,
yeah.
I was down in Costa Rica a few years back, and the first thing the tour guide told us as we were coming into San Jose, Costa Rica, now the Burger King is over there. And I'm going, I just flew 2,000 miles, and you want to send me to a goddamn Burger King? What the hell is this all about?
Colon blow.
Wait a minute. Kevin, what is that? Colon blow.
Shopping. Oh, he's in a joke store.
Oh, okay.
We're at a candy shop.
Colon blow.
Eat me.
Oh boy.
Here's some Trump candy.
Why is it only Ray Romani comes on my show with remotes from interesting places?
Here's some sweaty balls.
Sweaty balls? Yeah.
Yeah. There's some
Dick in the box.
Oh, Dick in the box. Isn't that kind
of
like...
you know something? This is all... do me a favor, Kevin. Look at that stuff and see if there's any copyright on the stuff, because I think that's all SNL stuff.
SNL, there you go.
Candies.
What does it say?
Yeah, it's good SNL.
It
says
says
SNL right there.
Yeah, you got the sweaty balls, Dick in a box, colon blow.
Ambiguously gay dude.
Yeah, ambiguously gay dudes. Yeah.
Oh, so they're
Then
making
sweaty balls. They got a fuck you candy bar. I mean, you're number one.
those. What is that? Oh, that's a fling.
It's a looks like a lollipop.
It's like a flip. Oh, what's that?
What is that?
I don't know.
Edible underwear.
Edible underwear?
Candy G-string.
Yeah, candy G-string. Yeah.
You know, that would be terrible if I went out with a woman and she said, "Come on, let's have some fun." I have edible underwear on, and I have to tell her, "Well, I'm on a low-carb diet."
Yeah. Is it gluten-free?
Is it gluten-free?
Peanuts? Peanuts.
Yeah, does it
just like chicken?
Yeah. What does it say on those? What does it say on your? What does
thing.
it say on your underpants? May contain peanuts.
Penis.
Peanuts. Didn't say penis.
So
I wouldn't
moist.
go that low with a joke. Crying out loud.
Jeez.
Hey, I'll see you guys.
Okay, Jack is going to go do his show, sponsored by Colon Blow.
Jack is off.
Jack's off.
Yeah, Jack's off.
Okay,
Jack's
down
off.
9.
Let's take Jack off.
That's the end of your full house.
Yeah.
Are more people watching now?
Huh? I don't know. Let me see here. Remove this person from group. There we go. Well, it doesn't remove them from the group. Okay. Remove person from group. There we go. And in case you just joined us, Kevin is in a novelty store in Cannery Row. I don't think John Steinbeck, when he wrote Cannery Row, ever figured that there's going to wind up being a store like that with colon below in it. You know?
Yeah, it's a candy store with all kinds of weird shit in it.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I've had enough of this one. I'm going to get out of here.
Do they have a diabetic section?
I'm sure they do.
I have a friend who's
probably the colon blow section.
I have a friend who's coming up to stay with us from Florida. I won't say who, but I will have them on my show. And they said, "Can we bring you anything?" And I thought for a moment. I said,
crab.
"Yeah, bring me a manatee."
Yeah, really. Can't go near them.
How big are manatees? I've seen them. They're
like they're slow moving. Sea cow.
Yeah, they look a lot like Trump.
I thought they looked like Hillary.
Well, Hillary isn't fat. She's just.
You see her legs?
She has cankles.
Yeah. Well, so do manatees.
Yeah, manatees don't have cankles.
Yeah, they got these fat little things that.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see here. I had a couple of items here.
I'm back in the truck. I'm going to head out. I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay, let's say goodbye
Right.
to Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. We appreciate it.
Have a good evening.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Anyway, what was I going to say? So, ratings for golf haven't been that good lately. And now it seems as though the ratings for CBS's coverage of the PGA Championship went through the roof. Going up, yes, 73% from 4.9 million who watched the final round a year ago. What is the difference? Tiger Woods is playing and is doing well.
I thought he was in the 50th position.
Well, no, that's that's national. That's in the world.
Then he was 8th in this.
No, he came out second.
Oh, really?
He came out second.
So he improved.
Yeah,
he almost won.
Wow.
It reached 8.5 million viewers for Sunday's round, up 73%. Wow. So apparently Tiger, and my wife always said, she said, my reason why I watch golf was Tiger. And I think that when he plays, and he's playing well, that bodes well for golf on television.
When I watch golf, it's because I want to pretend I'm comatose.
What I don't get is why the announcers for golf, whenever they're doing a golf game, sound like this. Now here comes Tiger up to the putt, and you're thinking to yourself, these guys are in a booth somewhere. Why are they whispering?
Just to add dramatic effect.
To add dramatic effect. We don't want to make noise because.
Are they actually in a booth, or are they?
Well, they're certainly nowhere.
They're
certainly nowhere near Tiger. They're not following him around the golf course.
It required them to travel to every hole.
Yeah, exactly.
In a little what? In a little golf cart?
In a little golf cart, yeah. They talk to each other like this. Don't make too much noise because Tiger might miss the putt if we talk too loud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And here we are in Augusta.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Cinderella story. It's in the hole.
I'm just wondering. We got about 3 minutes left. I've run out of stuff to talk about. There's not. I find myself. I can't watch these news networks anymore because
can you do a Bill Murray impression?
They get one.
Caddyshack.
They get one fucking story. They get one fucking story, and then all day long, it's the lead story. They just can't let go.
Oh God, it's so repetitive. It drives you nuts.
Yeah, and one more time, I heard Omarosa talking with these people today, and the other day it was Omarosa with Trump on the phone. You know, okay, that's fine. As long as I've heard it. I heard it on the last show, and the show before that, and the show before that, and the show before that.
But she's pretty good looking, you know, and I'd rather see her than Maxine Waters.
Oh, yeah.
Really? You're going to bring it all down to a sexist comment like that?
Well, I also thought it was bigoted.
Maxine Waters is a very beautiful woman, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because she is beautiful in the mind, which
You like
is
that
where
wig,
it
huh?
counts. What?
You like the wig?
Is she wearing a wig?
Doesn't she wear a wig that looks really phony?
No, I think that's almost.
Which one is that?
That's
Lee, Barbara Lee.
It's almost any congressman in Washington. They all are wearing some of the worst toupees I've ever seen. Which one do you want? I'll take the one everybody else has, the John Kennedy number 15. You know. And then they wear these horrible, horrible rugs. Jeez, doesn't, you know, some Aborigine out in the middle of Australia, if he showed up,
come to my,
would look at this.
Come to my carpet store. I could do better.
Would look at these guys and point at them and go, wig. You know, I mean, it's just terrible. Just terrible. It's amazing.
Well, I'm going to sleep early tomorrow night, so it's going to be Phil-free Thursday and Phil-free Friday.
When's your operation? Friday?
Thursday, 6 a.m.
And so we need the rest of you to take up the slack. If anybody's calling and has a heart condition, it would be appreciated. Yes, Patrick.
Bennett's waiting room.
Patrick?
It'll be a completely conservative-free Thursday, because I won't be calling either. The Packers are playing.
Oh, okay. The Fudge Packers are playing, but you can probably call tomorrow night to take up Phil's slack.
I can play a conservative when Phil's not here.
You can play anything. You can play Bill Murray.
Yeah, I'll just be a conservative.
Yeah,
that works.
That sounds good.
I'll wear a wig.
Kirk's conservative, isn't he?
Who?
No, SG.
SG.
SG, but SG's also insane. So.
Well, listen, Phil. You know, no matter what.
Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk.
Oh yeah.
No matter what, we wish you the best. You know, and please keep in touch so that I know.
I'll call you when I get
know, and if by some chance you die, keep in touch anyway. Okay.
Yeah,
absolutely. If golfing somehow, we'll get the Ouija board out.
I think you're
not gonna die.
I think you're gonna be. I think he's gonna be just fine, and I think he's even gonna say how good he feels after it's over with, because we saw you got a little color in your face just when you had the
actually pretty good.
I felt great after the first one.
Yeah.
But now that I got my NRA hat made in China, I'm very
hat's a little crazy.
Don't bring that to the hospital.
Scott, thank you for calling. Ray, always a pleasure. Please call tomorrow night, and you too, Scott, because it's going to be Phil-free night. Same thing with Patrick. Tony, you give us a call too. Phil, best of luck to you. Keenan, give us a call tomorrow night too. We love hearing from you.
We love to talk to you.
And
hey,
Steve,
maybe I'll be able to call from the hospital bed.
Yeah, thank you so much, Steve, for calling. All of you, give a big wave goodbye so that they can see your shiny faces. Shiny faces? What am I saying? Shiny faces. Anyway, that's it for our program tonight. That's all she wrote. And I had coffee tonight, so now I'm going to have to take a Xanax to put me to sleep. How about that? Anyway, that's it for tonight. I'm going to be back again tomorrow night. Meanwhile, it's Jack Bishop next over most of this same GabNet, followed by Connections at 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Tomorrow night at 8:30, it's the Franchise MC in our sports show, The Arena, followed by Damian Chaplin with The Exchange at 9:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Tomorrow night, we'll be here. 10 o'clock, same time, same station in life, and in the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye, everybody.